It's Black Friday week, and the question on everyone's mind is PlayStation Extra worth it? I went through every single game and checked its Metacritic score and made a huge spreadsheet. Are there any good games on the service? Is the sub worth it? Now, I do have another video talking about if the price is worth it, but this is all about the quality of the games. Are the games worth it? So back to the spreadsheet. There were over 400 games on the service, but half of them could be considered shovelware. I didn't count anything under a Metacritic rating of 75, because this video is gonna be all killer, no filler. So that brought us down to about 200. Literally half the catalog is just padding. After keeping only the good ones, I made a further separation of games that are above and below 80, but still over 75. You'd think games 80 to 100 versus 75 to 80 would be uneven, but no. So let's talk about ratings for a second. Unlike other media, 50 is not a fail, 70 is. The majority of games are between 70 and 80, so the average good game has to be better than 75. So anything above 80 is an objectively good game. Anything above 90 is a masterpiece. And anything below 70 is a huge fail that's usually a broken mess and unplayable. So back to the list. If you want just the numbers and skip the entire video, here are the numbers and the stats. Out of 400 games, 10 games are 90 plus, 96 games are between 80 and 90, so a quarter of the catalog is good to great. There's 74 games between 75 and 80, and the rest, 200, are below 75 or could be considered filler or shovelware. There you have it. Leave a like on your way out, and thanks for watching the video. Now, to those sticking around who actually want to see the games, maybe you're thinking, damn, this video is up my alley. This guy doesn't even have 1,000 subs. Well, consider subscribing and making that happen, but only at the end of the video if this video is actually worth it. So let's go through the entire catalog so you can visualize what games are worth playing as you scroll with on your console. This video will expose you to hidden gems as well as familiarize yourself with the franchises worth playing on PlayStation if you're new here. We're going to open up the catalog and sort alphabetically to make it easier for us, and then go back to our spreadsheet so we can follow along and sort alphabetically there too. Now we're in sync. Okay, we are ready. Anything red is over 80. So let's just jump right in to PlayStation. So the first game that is 80 plus is A Hat in Time. So that's a good game. It has 80. And the next one is Age of Wonders Planetfall, has an 81. So these two right off the bat are 80 plus. Not bad, 2 out of 5. Animal Well is our first 90 game. It has a rating of 90, so highly recommend you play that one, and it's very short. It's 7 hours. And then it takes a while. We get to Batman Arkham Knight. This is a pretty old game, but is a really good game. It has an 87. And then right under it is everyone's favorite that I haven't played yet. Don't get at me. 92, Bloodborne. So you might have heard of Bloodborne even if you don't play it. But the point of this video is to expose you to new games. And I have no idea what this next game is about, but it's called Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. And it has an 83. Let's just click on it and see what kind of game it is, because I have no idea if... Okay, oh, it's one of those. Okay, so now we know. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. 82. There we go. Exposing us to new games. The next game on the list is none of these. Celeste. Okay, Celeste is a really hard game. It is a platformer, but is really satisfying when you get good at it. And if you're not familiar with a game and you want to know what it looks like, just click on it and go down and just look at the pictures. Be like, oh, okay, it is a platformer that uses pixel art. Got it. Next one is Children of Morta. So after Children of Morta, it's Skitty Skylines. And basically, this is SimCity. Moving on to Control. I literally just beat this last night. Highly recommend playing Control. Amazing. And then we get to games that I won't play. Crusader Kings has one of the highest ratings. It is insane. Crusader Kings 3 has a rating of 92. And this is basically like a Civilization kind of game, if that's what you're into. And right next to it, Cult of the Lamb, another great game with a score of 82. And then in the next row, we have Dave the Diver, which I believe was a day one drop for us, and it was a great game with a score of 90. Almost next to it is Dead Cells, one of my other favorite games. Highly recommend playing this one. It has a Metacritic score of 89. The next one, you guys are it's gonna be divided over here. It's Death Stranding. A lot of people didn't like it, but those who played it love it. I am one of those. I put 110 hours into it, and it is one of my favorite experiences on the PlayStation 5. It's not for everybody, but it does have a rating of 85. And right under it, another fan favorite, Demon's Souls. Now, I personally don't play Souls-like. Personally, I don't like games that I have to try again. Maybe someday I'll play these Souls-likes. Demon's Souls has a 92. Insane. And right next to it, a game I don't know what it's about. It's called Desperados 3, and it has a rating of 86. All right, we got to check out what this game is about. Oh, it's like a top-down isometric. Okay, interesting. If you notice my list, let's go back to my list here for Desperados. There were these two numbers in the middle. I didn't really talk about these numbers. These are more just for me. And these are how long to beat. So that is a 27-hour game if you rush through the main and ignore all the side content. And it's a 63-hour game if you want to get the plat. So personally, a lot of these games go under my radar because I try to focus on short ones. Anyways, let's get back to the titles. So the next on the list is Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. This was basically Cyberpunk for people on last gen who couldn't play Cyberpunk. Deus Ex: Mankind Divided has a score of 84. Next on the list is Disco Elysium. This is a great game with a score of 89. I just beat it last month, and it is quite the experience. Most games you make decisions, it doesn't matter which way it goes, but this one, every decision matters and the story changes depending on it. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but those who like it will really get into it. And then, I'm sorry, but I cannot pronounce this one, but this game has a rating of 80. Oh my god, it takes 192 hours to platinum. Alliance of Vengeance. Disgaea. The next are the Dishonored games, and these seem like pretty good games to play because they're only 13 hours and 7 hours. And this one has a rating of 88, and Death to Outsider has a rating of 82. Not bad. And right next to it, it's Doom. But we're not going to talk about this Doom because it only had a 79. We're going to talk about Doom Eternal, which had an 88. So play that one. But I'm not sure if you need to play this one first. So play Doom Eternal. Everyone loves it. I'm not much into Dragon Ball games. A lot of them have really bad rating, but for some reason, this one has a really good rating. 87 for Dragon Ball FighterZ. Dredge. I'm currently playing Dredge because it fits my criteria of playing games. Here, let's bring back my little chart here. Bam, right there. It is an 80 plus game that is under 10 hours. So that goes under my list. So that's in my backlog and I'm currently playing it right now. The next one is called Elite Dangerous. There it is. Elite Dangerous has a score of 80. And now I will not play Elite Dangerous that has a score of 80 because you see Elite Dangerous with a score of 80 takes a minimum of 109 hours and takes 603 hours to complete. So if you have PlayStation Plus Extra, this is the only game you will play if you play that game. And next on the list is Enter the Gungeon. This is like a top-down shooter if you ever played those Die Hard games on the original NES, but it is a roguelite, one of the two. It's a roguelite, the score of 82. And right under it, we have the PS4 and PS5 version, which I highly recommend you play because the loading time is so much better. Did a video on that. Is Fallout 4. Fallout 4 had a score of 87. And right under it, we have Final Fantasy VII Remake. This one had 87. It's not intrograde or intergrade. It's just the remake. I don't know what the difference is. Tell me in the comments what the difference is between the two. I believe this one was an essential game like a few years ago. And games I would never play, but maybe you would, is Football Manager 24 for the console. Football Manager 2024 has a rating of 84. Next is Frostpunk. Frostpunk is a good game. It has a score of 84. Which brings us to PlayStation's baby, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. Now, there is a new one announced that's going to come out next year, so I highly recommend you play this soon, because as we've seen from Horizon and also Spider-Man, first-party titles are not safe. They can be removed, especially if a new game is coming out. It will take you from 25 to 61 hours to beat Ghost of Tsushima. Right under it is Ghost Runner. Ghost Runner is a hard game. It is a 3D game. It's like a 3D version of Celeste. You're going to die a lot in this game because if you get hit once, you die. Ghost Runner has a score of 81, which brings us all the way to our number one game on the service. The highest rated game on the entire service is God of War 2018. It has a score of 94. That is insane. I'm not even going to talk about Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm ignoring that one. So let's just talk about Gravity Rush 2. This is a very unique game. You don't fly in this game, but the world flies around around you, if that makes sense. It's kind of old, but you just gotta try it. Even if you just play like a few levels, it has like this kind of aesthetic if you're into those kind of things, but the gameplay is really fun. I just don't recommend doing the side missions. That's where I kind of jumped off the game. Like, it's like this game with all these powers, and then the side missions are like, tail these people without being seen. Like, what's the point? Gravity Rush has a rating of 80. This game just came out for our service. It's called Gris. This is a cute, very nice art style game, 2D platformer, I guess, like Journey, like that kind of game. Has a score of 83. Also a score of 83 is Hard Space Shipbreaker. This game, you're an engineer in space and you're flying around and fixing ships. Moving on to one of the greatest 2D platformers, Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is an amazing game. Highly recommend to play it if you didn't get it on Essential a few years ago. You will get lost in it, and it is very satisfying to play and beat. It has a score of 89. So this Hotline Miami 1 and 2, I believe number 1 has a better rating. It has an 85. Number 2, I haven't played it yet, but it has a rating of 75. So people don't like this one as much. And another day one drop for us was Humanity. This is a great puzzler. Highly recommend you play it. Humanity has a score of 86. And if you missed the Infamous games, there's these two Infamous. I played this one first light. I've played the 1 and 2, but I haven't played Infamous Second Son. I should play that one because Infamous Second Son has a score of 80. Inscription is a great game. I highly recommend you play it. It has a score of 85. I can't say too much about it without spoiling it, but basically all is not what it seems. When you beat the first part, you'll realize you're only 20% of the game. That's all I'm going to say. Moving on. Next, we have Judgment. This game is leaving December. Judgment, highly recommend you play it. If you ever played any of the Yakuza series, you don't need to play the old games. You can just start with this one. It is a fresh story. So play Judgment. It has a rating of 80. The next game on the list is Kenna, Bridge of Spirit. This game is really cute. It has like this Pixar quality about it, and you could like meditate, and there's cute creatures and everything. But then you get to the boss levels, and this is like Souls-like difficulty. It's going to kick your butt. So gameplay-wise, highly recommend it. Kenna has a rating of 81. And the next one on the list, I am not sure how to talk about, but it is Lego City Undercover. This is the only Lego game I found that is actually above 80. And you can see there are a lot of Lego games on the service. They love giving us a new Lego game every month. And this is the only one worth playing. So if you're ever going to play a Lego game, this is the one. Next, we get to the Life is Strange series. So Life is Strange 1 is the strongest. It has a score of 85. And then Life is Strange True Colors has a score of 81. So True Colors and the first one are the ones that are the highest rated. Talking about the Yakuza series, it's the Like a Dragon Ishin. I don't know if I butchered that, but it has a score of 81, and we just got that game. Like literally dropped a few days ago. So highly recommend playing these ones. I don't know if this is a strong one in the list, but it does have a score of 81, so go play it. Next, let's go to Marvel Universe. Guardians of the Galaxy, highly recommend this game. This is one of the first games I played on PlayStation 5, and it is a great game, and a lot of people missed it because the Avengers came out. The Avengers game bombed, and everyone hated it, and this game came right after that one, and a lot of people, it just went under the radar because they thought this was going to suck too. But this game is really good. Like, it's almost better than the third movie. Like, I was like so into it by the end. At first, it takes a bit of getting used to because the voices are different, but you're going to love it by the end. Marvel's Guardian of the Galaxy has a rating of 80. And right next to it, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, another highly recommended game because it is a short game. You can beat it in 7.5 hours. It has a rating of 85. And then we have Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. I don't know anything about this game. Let's just see what it's about. Yeah, it looks like, oh, it's a 2D platformer. Okay. Interesting. So Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom has a score of 86. Like, this has got to be a good game. I don't know. Like, to me, it just looked like shovelware, but apparently it's really good. Don't get at me in the comments. Next on the list, Monster Truck. No, I'm just kidding. It's Moonlighter. Moonlighter has a score of 81. I highly recommend this game. It is a roguelite or roguelike? I think it's a roguelite. Basically, you dungeon crawl during the day, and then you sell all the loot in a store. So it's like a Zelda mixed with like a store sim. I don't know what to call it, but really addictive. And also, the ending is really good. I'm not going to spoil it, but I will say that the ending explains why it's a roguelite, and no other type games explain why every time you do a run, it's a different level. But that one did a great job story-wise. It actually addressed why the level changes every time. So Moonlighter has a score of 81. Moving on to the fighting games, Mortal Kombat 11 has a score of 82. I don't think I need to say anything about that. You know what that is. Next, we got a game that I should try. It is called Night in the Woods. Night in the Woods has a score of 88. Holy moly. And it is a short game. 9 hours. Not bad. Neo, right next to it. I believe Neo 2 was an essential game a while back, but Neo also has a score of 88. And then we have these odd games here. Odd World, Abe's Odyssey, New and Tasty has a score of 84. And then Odin Sphere, Leaf Thrasher has a score of 87. It looks like a JRPG. All right, let's just click on what it is. I did promise you're going to get exposed to new games. Okay, this game has a score of 87. Interesting. Okay, kind of looks like a mobile game. Okay, the fan base is going to come after me. I'm sorry, Odin Sphere fan base. Next, we have Overcooked All You Can Eat. So Overcooked 2 just left, and I was really upset, but me and my girlfriend happened to beat it just in time and get the platinum. And then I realized this isn't Overcooked 1 as I thought. There we go. Okay, so this is Overcooked 1 and Overcooked 2 and all additional content blended together and remastered for the PS5. So there we go. I thought we lost Overcooked 2, but we just got like a remastered version of it, plus the first one, plus extra content. So highly recommend you play this game with someone that you have good communication with. It has a score of 84. Also score of 84 is Paradise Killer. Paradise Killer, I don't know what it's about, but it has a score of 84 because it's strange. Let's click on it. Okay. I don't know anything about it. Interesting. Okay. I didn't learn anything. I'm sorry. I don't have enough time to explore it. Next, we have Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. I don't know what this game is about either, but it has a score of 83. So if you're scrolling, oh, it's like an isometric turn-based? It looks like turn-based. Interesting. Thanks for that information. Next, we have Prison Architect. Really? This game? This game has a score of 83. Really? This looks like a Flash game from like 2003. Interesting. Apparently it's really good. Next on the list is our first short game that's leaving the service. It's Proteus. Highly recommend playing Proteus. It has a score of 84, and it is basically like a Doom, Duke Nukem, Quake. There's not many games that are going for this aesthetic recently, and technically these are 20-year-old games, maybe 25-year-old games by now. A must-play for PS5 is Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. The graphics are amazing, the playing is amazing, and it actually takes advantage of the controller, which not a lot of games do outside of Astro. Ratchet & Clank has a score of 88. Next, we have a game that I probably won't play, but it looks amazing. It's called Remnant 2, and it has a score of 80. It's just a bit long for my taste. The main story only takes 18, so maybe it's doable. Next to it is one of the highest rated games. It's in the top 10 list. It's Resident Evil 2 with a score of 91. Wow. Next on the list is Resogun. This is from the same makers of Returnal, which are just right there next to it. And it is like a cylindrical shoot 'em up. You're a ship and you're shooting things. That's all you need to know. Resogun has a score of 84. Returnal is a must play for the PS5. It is another game that takes advantage of the controller, and the story is amazing, and not a lot of people have beat it because it is a really hard game and you die a lot. So a lot of people gave up in the first level, but I highly recommend you play it just to experience it. Returnal has a score of 86. Next, this is like winner. 4 winners in a row, is Return to Monkey Island. I'm not joking. Return Monkey Island has a higher score. It has a score of 87. And then right next to it is Res Infinite with a score of 89. Wow. So next we have Rise of the Tomb Raider. This is from 2015. It has a score of 86. You know what it's about, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. Next on the list is Rogue Legacy 2. This is a roguelike game and has a score of 88. This is one of the highest rated roguelites on the service. So another game with a high rating that I probably won't play is Rune Factory 4. It has a score of 83. I'm not even going to click on that one, but if you're into that sort of thing, do it up. And then next to it is Sackboy. Unfortunately, it didn't make the list, but it's a great game. You should play it. The next on the list is Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, which has a score of 80. What is it about? I don't know. Okay, interesting. This game has a score of 80, so go play it if you're into that sort of thing. Next is all the way down. It's a favorite from the PS3 era, remastered for the PS4. It's called Shadow of the Colossus. They should do a PS5 version of it. Shadow of the Colossus has an amazing score of 91. Highly recommend playing this one if you didn't get a chance to like 10, 15 years ago. Next, we have Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun with a score of 85. I don't know anything about it. Oh, we missed the Shadowrun games. So Shadowrun Dragonfall has a score of 87, and Shadowrun Hong Kong has a score of 81. Shadowrun Returns only has a score of 75, so ignore that one. Okay, let's just go to Slay the Spire. Highly recommended game, has a score of 89. Play it. It's a card deck builder, and you will get addicted to it. And then we go all the way down to a lot of shovelware. Stranded Alien Dawn. Interesting. Stranded Alien Dawn has a score of 81. And then after that, the other 80 plus game is Street Fighter V Champion Edition. And then Tales of Arise. Tales of Arise has a score of 87. Wow. And then next, this has been on my list for like 2 years and I still haven't played it, called Tearaway Unfolded. It has a score of 81 and it only takes 8 hours to beat. Super highly recommended game is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. I did a whole video about this, how it's almost a perfect game. I just wish it had crossplay. It has a score of 85. And next is Terraria, which is basically 2D Minecraft. I don't need to say much about it. It has a score of 81. And also, I don't need to say much about Tetris, except that it has a score of 88. Also, I don't need to say much about Skyrim, which is 2 different versions. When it came out, it had a score of 84. I don't know if it stands the test of time, but if you haven't played it, play it, obviously. All right, highly recommended game that's under the radar, The Forgotten City. Speaking of Skyrim, this is actually a Skyrim mod that became its own game and then got like remastered into a full game. Lots of research went into the history of it. If you like the Roman Empire and the Greek Empire and every empire before that, you will love this game. And also, if you like Outer Wilds, you'll like this game because it's all about knowledge. I don't know if this is a spoiler, but it's a time loop game. Highly recommend. Under the radar. Only takes 6 hours to beat. Metacritic rating for The Forgotten City is 85. Wow. Next, we have The Last Guardian. If you like taking care of puppies who don't listen to you, really cute game, but amazing game. It has a rating of 82. And if you haven't played The Last of Us and you're on PlayStation, what are you doing with your life? Last of Us has a score of 89. This is the remake, not the remastered version from 2014. Last of Us original was 2013. This came out like a few years ago, and it is the part 1 version. Where does it say? There we go, 2022. It came out in 2022. They redid the models and the faces and everything looks new and shiny, so highly recommend that. The Last of Us Part 1 has a score of 89, and often confused with the Outer Wilds, it's the Outer Worlds. This is from the same people who made some of the Fallout games, except you're in space. Obsidian made it, I think. Let's check. Let's watch a trailer. Yeah, Obsidian. Okay, Obsidian made it. I think they made Fallout New Vegas. They made some of the best Fallout games. It might go away next month. And after that, we have The Pedestrian. This is a really unique game that I can't really explain without showing you a tiny little trailer. Basically, what this game is a 2D puzzler in a 3D world. So how cute is that? It is really fun and satisfying to play. Highly recommend. The Pedestrian has a score of 80. A day 1 drop this year. I don't know if we got too many day 1 drops this year. I guess we got, what was that called? Foam Stars? But aside from Foam Stars, we got the Plucky Squire. It's really cute. Highly recommend. I know I say that a lot, but this is a cute game. It has a score of 84, and it only takes 10 hours for the platinum. Not to beat, for the platinum. So it's only an 8-hour game with a score of 84. Next on the list is a very high-rated game with a score of 92. It is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I probably won't play it on the service. I haven't got around to it. I will probably buy it so I could keep it forever, but I just don't have that much time to devote to The Witcher. It takes 174 hours to platinum. 52 if you want to skip all the side content and just focus on the main mission. So I don't have that kind of time. Sorry. Next on the list is This War of Mine Final Cut. This is about the emotional part of war, and it is kind of a short game. It is only 11 hours. Next on the list is Tinykin. This is a game that is leaving in a few weeks. Highly recommend you play this. It is very fun. It is very snappy. Like the controls are very good, but it's not on the list. Actually, I lied. It has has a score of 78. Whoops. But it is leaving, so play that, even though it doesn't have an 80. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition from 2013 has a score of 85. Towerfall Ascension is from the makers of Celeste. This is a really fun game. It is very basic. It's like Mario Bro, but not Super Mario Bro, like the original Mario Bro, where it's like 2 players. All right, I'm an old man, I admit it. So Towerfall Ascension has a score of 80. Next on the list, a game I don't know anything about. It's called Trine 4: The Nightmare Prince. Trine 4 has a score of 80. What is it about? I don't really know, but it can take 10 to 16 hours to beat, so maybe I should add this to my list. It looks kind of okay, not bad. Cool art. Interesting. Trine 4 has a score of 80. All right, 2 Point Hospital. I don't know if I'm going to play these kind of games, but if you're into that kind of thing, it has a score of 85. Wow. And then next, I don't know how to rate these ones, but they're all... Okay, there's Uncharted 4. There's Uncharted Lost Legacy, and then there's Uncharted Legacy of Thieves, which is both those games into one. So if you're going to play one of these, I recommend you play this one, because not only is it both games, but it is the PS5 version. So way better loading times and graphics. Uncharted has a score of 87. It is an amazing game, and you will love that world if you haven't been part of PlayStation Land the past like 10-15 years. All right, we're nearing the end. We're in U. Okay, Undertale, very fun game, 92, and it only takes 7 hours to beat. The graphics are not the best, but that's kind of the point. Undertale is an underdog, even though lots of people know about it. Play it if you don't care about graphics, but love a good game. And then we have... No, just kidding. Untitled Goose Game. Untitled Goose Game has a score of 81. Highly recommend you play this with a friend, because co-op gooses are down to clown. Is that a joke? I don't know. I think that was a goose joke. Okay, and then out of all these games, we have Warhammer Vermintide 2. Not huge in the Warhammer universe, but this looks like a pretty good graphics game, and I know the Warhammer fan base is insane and they love their Warhammer. So we do have a Warhammer game if you're into that. It has a score of 82. And then we have a lot of Wolfenstein games. The only one that has a rating plus 80 is Wolfenstein New Colossus. I believe that's this one. So this one has a score of 87. New Order has 79, and then Old Blood has 76. I think Young Blood is even lower than that. I do not know which order these are in, but apparently the sequel 2 has the highest rating. So I'm not sure if you need to play one first. Okay, we're almost at the end. We have XCOM 2. People love XCOM 2, and I always see that picture and I always want to play it. People love XCOM 2. It has a rating of 88. And then we have games that I do not know how to pronounce. They're these games, okay? Yes 8 has a score of 85, and then Yes 9 has a score of 80. What kind of games are these? I'm going to say are JRPG? Probably JRPG. Looks like JRPG. People love their JRPGs. And there's a lot of JRPGs on PlayStation. All right, that is all the games that are above 80. I hope you enjoyed this very long video, and I hope that you got exposed to some new games. Until next time, be a friend, and I'll see you again